What's going on, motorsports fans? This is Jared here with the beardedgaragistas, back again with the end of the season recap. Very stoked to get going with you. We got a whole bunch of shit to get over, so let's go. All right, so, well, what up, New? How you been?
How you doing?
I forgot what I wanted to say, but then I forgot I also had to introduce you. I'm just so used to you being here now. It's good shit.
I'm glad I'm a staple.
I will say we lost Betty White. Sucks. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy holidays. We haven't seen you in a while. If you're still getting over the Mercedes issue and the loss and the Max Verstappen win, if you're still excited about that, welcome. We are going to go over the season in total, and we're going to do it a little different way. I know last year and the year before, I think we stuck to going over each race. This time we picked out some, the best of the best things, and we're going to do those, and we'll see where it goes. We may end up talking about races. We don't know. Obviously, we're going to sprinkle some things in there for you, and we'll see how we go. There was some big news today I got to bring up. Tyler would get mad at me if I didn't in the endurance racing world. WeatherTech decided to join GTD Pro with 2 cars, and it looks like they're Mercedes from the picture, but I was scrolling fast on Instagram, and I apologize. So, without further ado, are you ready, New?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. The best driver. And I also, by the way, I also do have a lot of information from Brett. So I'm going to be looking over to the side here to see Brett's notes. He is here in spirit. He'll be back eventually. Best driver. I'll let you go first because I think I know who you're going to pick.
I mean, come on. Look at the hat. Look at the hat. I mean, best driver, got to be the guy that wins his first world championship, right? Good old Max Verstappen.
It doesn't have to be, but
doesn't have to be.
I do agree with you. No, I don't think it has to be at all. I think even though it's his first championship, it doesn't mean he was the best driver of the year. I mean, if you brought Brett on the show and you asked him about what's his name, dude who drove for McLaren, he's yelling at me right now. Can't remember his name.
Lando?
Keke Rosberg. Keke Rosberg won a championship, and I don't know, he was mediocre that season. He was very lucky to win the championship, so you can't say that. But I understand where you're going.
10 poles, 16 fastest laps. I think like 11 wins. I mean, 22 game season, and more than half he
came home with a trophy haul, my guy. That. If you see the pictures of him with all his trophies at the end of the year from all the things that happened, now I understand why some of the best need their own trophy room. Definitely makes sense. I agree, and so does Brett. We both believe Max Verstappen was probably the best driver this year. Not probably, he was the best driver this year. What's really weird is I got to throw Sainz into the mix. I thought Sainz was the only driver at a new team to look like he never missed a beat. The other drivers are struggling to learn their cars. Carlos was quietly putting points in the bank, allowing him to finish P5 ahead of Leclerc at the end of the year. He literally did everything he needed to do, flew under the radar like a Gasly, but you got to think, he's at a brand new team. Perez was at a brand new team. Ricciardo was at a brand new team. None of them performed the way that we wanted or expected. Sainz was the only one to consistently do that, and he battled so much with Leclerc that they announced now that they're a 2-driver team. They're not a 1-2 team. They're both on the same level at the start of the year, which is huge for somebody like Sainz trying to remake the name for himself in F1, which he never really lost it, but I mean, maybe his standings with the rest of the teams in the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Sainz is one of those unique talents where you can move him from a team to a team and he doesn't lose a beat. Moving, I think, from Toro Rosso to McLaren was immediately quick on the McLaren. McLaren to Ferrari.
No, he went Toro Rosso to. I think he went Toro Rosso to Force India to Renault, Renault to McLaren, McLaren to Ferrari.
Yeah.
I think.
And he was consistent throughout every one of those changes. And he was never one of those guys
was
like
that
with
Perez?
Ricardo this year who had troubles.
Why do I always get Sainz and Perez confused? I know they're both Spanish, but like I keep mixing them together in a pot, and they're like the same person, but I know they're completely different people, and I apologize so bad, but I can't remember. I don't remember. Don't just let it go.
It's all good.
Just let it go.
Everything's fine.
Best team. I think we're all in agreement. I think Mercedes was the best team. Are you? Well, let me ask you. Do you think Mercedes was the best team? I would hope so.
My pick was Mercedes for being the best team. Consistently on a day-to-day basis, they had not just, 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton running a good race. Valtteri putting around a little bit. Not a great season for him, but a lot of their strategy was good together. Their pits were very good, except for Monaco. But everything else, like as a full team from top to bottom, they did a great job.
No, yeah, for sure. For sure. I would say that Mercedes definitely. I also threw Ferrari. Didn't have to be great to finish where they did, but they did press McLaren at the end of the year. They finished P3, probably something above what we expected. Now, I know Ferrari expects a lot of itself, and Ferrari usually tries to deliver. They want to be in the top 3 battling with Red Bull and Mercedes. But I don't even know with how bad they were last year. I'm not sure we were 100% in saying that they were going to be for sure as good as they were. So they made a big push at the end of the year. I hope it wasn't detrimental to their car next year, which I was talking to Brett about that. Real quick to not get too far off topic. Haas has the most time in the wind tunnel with the new car. They had the most time to spend on the new car because there was no reason to upgrade this year's car. They didn't upgrade this year's or last year's car. If Haas doesn't come out of the tunnel banging, I have no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah, they should be competing with at least people like Alfa Romeo next year, because of just on the fact that they have all that time and all that ability and more than the other teams. Now, I like with Ferrari, as you're talking about, it's good to see that they had 2 good drivers that could outweigh bad strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So they always have that problem where they have bad strategy most of the time, but they had 2 drivers that were able to manage tires, manage fuel, manage everything, and just been like, leave me alone, let me drive.
Right. I would hope to see Haas battling with somebody like Alfa Romeo. I think if Mick Schumacher can... Mazepin too. Listen, I don't know what he's capable of. I've never really seen him in his top form, I guess. If Schumacher and Mazepin can make a go at Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou and Alfa Romeo, I think it's going to be a good season for Haas. I think if Williams is punching up to the level of I think Williams should be above Aston Martin with how badly they performed and how the lack of thought process, the lack of ingenuity when they're copying other teams and things like that. Unless they pull a rabbit out of their hat, I see Williams above Aston Martin, and I see them battling maybe with a AlphaTauri, Alpine kind of thing. Everyone keeps saying that, and Fernando Alonso says that Alpine is on this great and awesome track. I don't see it. I think he's saying what he needs to say, but we'll see. You never know. I guess it could be. Team.
I got a question for you though with Haas especially.
Okay.
Going into next year, now that the fact that in the world regulations are going to be over for them, so they can actually say they are a Russian team. Is Euro Alkyl, Mazepin's dad's company, going to be taking over a lot more of that, where it's not going to be mainly a Haas? Might be Euro Alkyl now going, or I know I'm mispronouncing that like crazy.
Yeah, but there would have to be a sale. There has to be a sale. There's no way that Gene Haas lets a car or a team carry something other than his name unless they sell the team. Or what is it, Eurocali or something like that? Eurocali, I think, unless they're a title sponsor, like where they did with Rich Energy. But I don't think the color scheme of the car changes much. Between USA and Russia, they all use the same colors. So you never really know. Team that we thought would be better than they were.
Aston freaking Martin.
you and Brett both agreed, yeah.
I expected them to be in that fight with Ferrari and McLaren. I mean, Vettel, new car. He's a 4-time world champion. He knows what he's doing. And Stroll has splashes of brilliance, but then he dives deep into the not brilliant side of everything. And like their strategy wasn't great. I feel like the team principal, Omar Snafnauer, however he pronounces his name.
Omar Snuffleupagus.
Yeah. With him like leaving, I think he was distracted, wasn't focusing too much on what's going on. That team just underperformed every weekend. That horrible strategy for Stroll every time he came out for qualifying, especially like in France.
Yeah. It's really weird to think because you know with how much money Papa Stroll's putting into the company and how big he is on we're making Aston Martin big again. Really, they're just dropping the ball left and right over there. I would say Brett definitely said Aston Martin as well. The floor rule change or something more. He doesn't know. Yeah, the floor rule change was big, but it obviously didn't affect McLaren. It obviously didn't affect Mercedes as much as it did because they were able to adapt. They were able to use other areas of the car that they were able. This was the problem with copying the McLaren, I think. And again, these teams with how much money we're talking about here, these teams are talking so far into the future that they may have been thinking 2022 long term. Let's just get through these next couple years. That may have been the goal. I find it hard to believe with how much passion and money they're throwing at this, but it's a possibility. For me, I was disappointed with McLaren. The way they started the year, I thought Ricciardo was going to come into the team, be able to drive the car properly and really do some great things. Norris started the year really strong, really well. He looked great. He looked like everything was, going down the line. I thought they were going to be a lot better. And I get it. They fought for third place in the Constructors' Championships, and you're going to sit there and tell me, well, how much better could they do if they were fighting for third place? That's not the case, though, because the point gap should have been a lot closer to Red Bull and Mercedes at the top, is my point. And on top of that, they should have been able to beat Ferrari, all right? If Ricciardo drives that car the way it's supposed to be driven, if Norris doesn't start to kind of wane here and there and have those weird, random shit show things. I mean, he comes out with a win. Where was that? Hungary, where he slid off the track in the rain.
Russia, too. Like, the problem with Russia was the tire choices at the end there.
Yeah, so...
he didn't want to come in on the intermediates, and he just lost it.
Right. So, I mean, it's just... I guess that's going to happen. The problem is it happened too often to where it took them out of the running for something that they probably definitely should have been in third. They should have definitely beat Ferrari. And I think the point gap should have been closer to Red Bull and Mercedes at the top. They had the team to do it. I'm really hoping that next year, because there's a design change and the Fernando Alonso era car is kind of going away, is it easier for Ricciardo? Because the main reason they said was Ricciardo normally doesn't, unless he's braking late to pass somebody, Ricciardo's normally a brake early and get on the throttle as early as you can, where they design the car to kind of more throw it into the turn. If you remember back when Fernando Alonso was winning championships, his driving style was really crazy because he would just yoke the wheel and let the understeer push him through the turn, and he was able to control it, and that's just his driving style. And I feel like he was working towards getting the McLaren there. When he split off from McLaren, it's just not how he drives. And Norris is able to drive it because Norris has been doing it for a couple of years. So we'll see how that goes. What's weird is you say that they're I say that they're a disappointment, but they're the only team to score 1-2 this year. So it's like, it's really weird. It's really weird. This year was fucked. This year was crazy. I mean, think about all the shit that happened this year. Hamilton starts a race by himself. Hamilton crashed more times than I've seen Hamilton crash in a long time. Verstappen wins a championship. What other craziness happened?
I mean,
Norris munched it at Spa almost during qualifying. Was that qualifying?
Bottas and George and Imola.
Bottas and George and Imola. George finishing or you're starting a race P2.
After one of the greatest qualifying laps I've ever seen.
I think that was at Spa.
That was at Spa, yeah. That's the only reason why, because there was no race after
Monaco. Leclerc gets pole at Monaco, crashes, then he doesn't start the race because Ferrari doesn't change his gearbox.
Yeah, that hurt.
There's just so much shit that happened this year that is unreal.
It was definitely McLaren coming in. They should have been third. It was their third place to lose.
Yeah.
And they just lost it.
Yeah. I agree. I have to agree with you. Most underrated driver. Go ahead.
I mean, I went with Carlos Sainz because most people had no idea what he was going to do. They didn't realize at one point, what did he point, 15 races or something in a row? And everyone's just like, oh, he did? What's going on? Now, I bet I know who you're going to say.
Brett said Sainz as well. So Brett said Sainz as always. Brett is a very big Sainz fan. He's always been in his corner. Brett has always said that. Who do you think I'm going to say?
Oh, you're going to say Gasly.
I'm always going to say Gasly.
You're always going to say Gasly.
Because he's where he shouldn't be constantly, right? Sainz is a good driver on a good team, on a team that should be in the top, but is not. Gasly is not. He was on a top team, kicked out of that top team. He's clawing his way back. He's on a team that shouldn't be where he is, and he carried that team. As much as Yuki definitely got better at the end of the season, he carried that team on his back like luggage the entire fucking year. And he did it with grace. He did it in qualifying. He did it in the race. He was constantly, P6, P7 all over the place in a car that probably shouldn't have been in the top 10. Right, we all expected Aston Martin to be up there. We expected Alpine to be up there. We never expect AlphaTauri to be up there. And with how Yuki Tsunoda was driving earlier in the year, they weren't. But you got somebody like Gasly, flying under the radar. Nobody really talks about him until boop, he fucking wins a race. And you're like, oh, fuck, that guy's still here? Yeah, all right. So he's like that meme where they're standing there and then they turn around like, oh, fuck. That's Gasly, bro.
P5.
I'm telling you.
He was a P5, P6 master this year. I mean, look at Abu Dhabi at the end. How many people forget that Sainz finished third in that race? After everything else that happened on there, he was on the podium. And I've been listening to other podcasts and they're talking about that, and a lot of them were also like, we didn't realize he got on third until we saw him standing up there.
Exactly. Like there was a lot of other shit going on, so you really can't blame him. But yes, he jumped up into a lot of different places. Sainz is somebody that he's there to get the job done. He's very good at what he does. He has a lot of talent. You could also tell he probably works really fucking hard to stay where he's at. All right. He probably is very focused. He surrounds himself with family. He doesn't really get into the, chaos of the F1 world. He stays in his lane. He does his job. That's the guy that comes in, clocks in, does a solid 8 hours of work. Might work a little overtime just to get some extra work done. Clocks out, goes home, loves his family. That's just what it seems to be on the surface. Whether that's true or not, again, I'm that kind of guy that tell you I don't know the fucking guy from Adam, but that's just what it seems to be on the surface. He seems very, very calm, very collected. He's out there to just do what he does. The driver who surprised you the most?
So I went with Esteban Ocon this year.
Really? I mean, because he won a race? Esteban Ocon won a race.
If you think about it, 14-point finishes, one of them being a win. Now, he had a little the Austria and Styrian, those Grand Prix, right after he got his contract extension, where his car just kind of failed on him. Yeah. But he was 14 different point finishes in a 23-race season for a car where the Alpine, it should have been up there, but I didn't expect him. I didn't expect him to be in 7th, 8th, 9th consistently. Not even just 10th. Like, he was up a little bit higher, and he was always around, and he pulls out a win in a very interesting time, Yeah,
that makes sense.
Bottas bowling, so there you go. But he surprised me, and I'm very interested to see what he's going to do next year in that car, because I think he's going to be able to be competing for a top 10 spot, especially.
Botas bowling. I hate you. Why'd you have to bring that up? You know what's really funny? Think about, and I told you the other day how I felt. If you think about all the times that where Max had bad luck with Bottas going bowling, blowout at Azerbaijan, the crash in Silverstone, then I started thinking about, well, Hamilton's crash when he went off the track in the gravel, which he came back anyway. And then Hamilton also had the magic button issue. But, with the stuff that seemed to happen outside of Verstappen's control, I think the championship would have been a lot more spread if those things did not happen, or if you took every bad thing that happened from Hamilton and every bad thing that you took from Verstappen, I think Verstappen's winning the championship easily. It's a lot more than 1 point. So, whatever. I know I pissed some people off with that one, but that's just me thinking outside the box. The driver who surprised me the most, and Brett, you're fucking killing me. Brett picked Sainz, but he said that's too easy, so he switched and he went Ricciardo for obviously not good reasons. And what's funny is I actually was picking Ricciardo for the not good reasons. He is the driver that surprised me the most. I'm not 100% surprised at what Sainz was able to accomplish. As much as I think Gasly is underrated, I'm obviously a Gasly, I don't know about a fan, but I'm pushing Gasly, and I know what he can accomplish. I know what Ricciardo can accomplish, and he wasn't even fucking close. He wasn't even in the ballpark. Yeah, I get he won a race, but if you look at the overall season as a whole, he was a huge disappointment. I'm not saying that it was him personally. I'm not saying it was his driving. It's just he was not able to adapt to the car as quickly as I expected. And I should have understood that with his switch to Renault. I should have known. However, I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was in some areas where he's, dangling down in 15th place. He's not even in the top 10. You're like, Jesus Christ, what the hell's going on,
I mean, Norris lapped him like twice this year. Like I understand that Norris has been driving in the McLaren, but for longer than Ricciardo has, but how is it that you got lapped by your teamate?
Yeah, he waves at him on the way by. Brutal.
Yeah, that was tough.
And what's funny is he's also, Ricciardo's still got this headspace of like he's enjoying life, he's smiling, he's having a good time. And I think at this point in his career, he wants the championship. Yes, he knows he's capable of doing it. And as long as he's still got to drive, he's always going to be dangerous. He's like Maverick, you know what I'm saying? He's still dangerous. You can't underestimate Ricciardo. I do think the car makes a comeback. I think he's probably got a little bit to do with the design, the development of this car, and probably 2-3 years into the future. And we'll see how it goes. What do you think the best race was?
Oh, I was a huge fan of Zandvoort. The Dutch Grand Prix.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
Just because the yellow in the crowd? Because the yellow in the crowd. The orange in the crowd.
Yeah, you couldn't see half the race. But I love the construction of the track. The big banks. It was really funny watching. Everybody always hit that one where it's like the line was low, and then Alonso's just over the outside like, I'm going. But it was an exciting race. You had a famous Valtteri, this is James, abort fast lap, hops in the fastest lap, just to say, screw you. So you had some really interesting storylines.
He wasn't blatant with it this year, right? Valtteri wasn't blatant with the go fuck yourself this year, but he definitely threw him in there every once in a while, like, hey.
It just like slid in, yeah. I mean, I like that one, and maybe Coda would be my number 2, but I definitely was a huge fan of Zandvoort this year, especially since it's the first time it's been on the track since 1985. It's been on the calendar. Hasn't been there since then.
Brett said this is a hard one. He picked Hungary for the turn 1 chaos. Hamilton starting the race by himself. Ocon winning. I definitely understand how he can pick Hungary. I would also say that Mexico was a really good race this year. The Emilia-Romagna was very hair-raising this year. And Monza was exciting. And not just because of the Verstappen-Hamilton accident. I thought it was a pretty good race, but all right, let's be honest with you. Monza was exciting because of the Max Lewis accident. That was it's not every day you get to see a car parked on top of another car, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because otherwise, a lot of times Monza turns into a DRS train, and it just gets boring after the first 7 laps.
Worst race?
Spa, because it wasn't a race. I don't care what they say. It was 2 laps behind the safety car because it was raining like crazy, and I know that's what the rules say, but it wasn't a race. I'm sorry.
Spa
Bless
is one
you,
of my favorite
George.
tracks, and that was shitty.
Yeah. I mean, they were dangerous through qualifying. I mean, you see Sebastian Vettel go on the radio and go, "We should not be out here." And then what happens? Norris crashes in the fastest part of the track.
Yeah. Which now they're changing that.
Yeah.
They're changing that part of the track too. I don't think I understand the danger of it. That's the point of that turn. And there's some turns that it's not like there's not runoff. It's not like there's, it's not like they're taking the hill away, which the most dangerous part of that turn was seeing over the top of the hill. I don't agree with them changing the turn. I think they made it less iconic, and I don't like it.
I think the problem about that race, honestly, is the reason why mainly I picked it being the worst is because it really started to show how inept the FIA and Michael Massey were when it came to enforcing rules or putting rules together and sticking to their guns.
Yeah.
Like, if your car gets brought back to the pit by anything but them getting it back, the car shouldn't restart. And because they were under red flags, there you go. Perez is back. You kind of broke your own rule.
Honestly,
you shouldn't have been able to start in there. And then there was all these time this, it's time that. It's like, oh, what happens?
I don't know enough.
Clock going now?
I don't know enough of what happens behind the scenes. Right? You think about that, like, Michael Massey has the ultimate control. How big is his team? Is it just him making what decision? I understand stewards are in there. I understand he has the override. He doesn't have the anything to do with the enforcing the rules, the penalties, and stuff like that. He just dishes them out. I get it. But I will say, in the only defense for Michael Massey, it's tough for one guy to keep an eye on every possible outcome that could happen. Now, I also think that the guy is terrible at multitasking, and he something needs to go. I get the whole having an assistant thing, but there were other race directors that didn't seem to have this much of a problem in their tenure. So I'm leaning towards that. Maybe we need to have a multitasking class or something like that. I don't think Michael Massey's going to be around for too much longer. Either something changes where he gets an assistant and they give him one more try, but I think the FIA might remove him or force him to step down.
I mean, he can't watch a race and check his email at the same time. So
he did it.
Yeah.
Brett picked Saudi Arabia.
It's Saudi Arabia? Okay.
Brett picked Saudi Arabia. He has a vendetta against that track. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of Saudi Arabia myself. I think it's a boring track. I think it's a boring race. I think they go there for the money. It's the end of the season for the money. It's a track that does not produce a lot of passing. Even with the changes that they made, it still wasn't very exciting to me. And I agree with Brett. I never really liked Saudi Arabia. I don't know. What other the worst race? Could I say Saudi Arabia was the worst race? Any race that finished Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas was pretty trash in my opinion. So like the Styrian Grand Prix. But you know what? As you know, the Dutch, Zandvoort was, but the funniest thing was the fact that we got so accustomed to seeing the Lewis, Max, Bottas podium, and then we got to a point where you were like, well, they're going to just do the same thing in 2021, and there was just a slew of people. How many people made the podium this year?
I have that on there, actually. Let me pull that up real quick. You had 6 different race winners. You had 13 different people make it on a podium this season.
That's fantastic. This season, 100% going down in the history books. And if anybody tells you that you're wrong, they're crazy. this season had everything. This season had controversy. This season had amazing finishes. This season had amazing races. It was up, down, left, right. It was crazy. The traveling, the logistics, the COVID, all of it. I think this was a fantastic season. You know what I'm saying?
When you can make Monaco semi-entertaining, that's when you know you've had a good season.
Well, you throw on a golf livery and you make Monaco entertaining. That's the only
I
reason
mean,
why I watched it.
that golf livery was probably one of my top 5 liveries. That I really love the Honda Japanese, but that
The
special
red and
one that
white
they
one?
had was really nice. The Red Bull one.
Yeah,
But yeah, that golf livery was just fantastic.
it's something else, man. What are you excited for in 2022?
Ooh, I'm hoping it's March already. Is it March? Because I'm getting really antsy without having racing. But
Well, we got the Rolex 24. I think is in February.
Okay.
Yeah, February.
I like that the fact that these cars are going to be able to follow each other a lot more because of the way that there's not going to be as much dirty air.
Don't get in front of yourself. You think that they'll be able to follow each other a lot more. You don't know yet. We haven't seen them on track.
Okay. I'm going based off of everything that they said it should be coming. I mean, having the wheel cap now, you're going to have the wheels are going to actually basically have caps on them, and they're going to be smaller.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be 13 inches now.
No.
I think they were 18 before.
Wheels are getting bigger.
They're getting bigger. So other way around.
They were at 13, now they're going to 18.
So it's you're going to have this.
The 10s. I keep them clean, though.
Yeah. But you're going to have amazing air. Just, it should be better on track.
Should be.
Action.
Yeah.
Should be. Problem is, how bad they are with camera angles, we won't see half of it. They got to fix that. That's definitely something that needs to be fixed. Because I'm sorry, I am a Max fan. I love watching Max drive around the track. But there's only so much I could sit and watch Hamilton and Verstappen battle each other when they're 30 seconds above everybody else. And you just don't get to see all the interesting stuff that's going on in the middle. So
Brett's excited for new cars in a jumbled up order. He says he's not making any predictions until practice in February. And I think I agree with him. I mean, you could make predictions now and then make a prediction again in February. I think we can go over predictions because I know you have some bold predictions that you want to say. So if you want to present your predictions for 2022, I'll let you have the stand. Go ahead, brother.
I mean, bold predictions are different than just regular. Because when you get closer, I'll come up with predictions that maybe make actual sense. But one of my big ones that I was telling you about it the other night is I believe Yuki Tsunoda will finish in the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship next year. And we were kind of talking this back and forth, and because I'm sitting there going into the season going, yeah, I was going into the season going, you're going to have Lewis is going to win. My prediction is Lewis winning next year.
Right.
Getting his 8th title and then retiring.
Right.
Then you're going to have Max is going to come in 2nd. George is going to be in 3rd. Then you're going to have Sainz in 4th, Perez in 5th, Leclerc in 6th. So that's already 6 out of the top 10. You're going to have a Norris, possibly a Ricciardo. So now we only got 2 spots left. And you have 2 spots with guys like Yuki, Vettel, Stroll, Alonso, Ocon, which I talked about Ocon, how much I loved him. I feel like he's going to be either 9 or 10. So it's leaving a very small margin for Yuki Tsunoda to make it in there. But I think with the work with Alex Albon he's been doing this season, and the fact that he's in a pretty decent, he's in a good car, he's going to make better choices and be a lot less spinny and a little less crashy and finish in the top 10 next year.
Okay. I don't know. It's a bold prediction because of Alpine. I think if Alpine's not there, if Fernando Alonso, the dangerous, two-time world champion, Ocon now a race winner consistently in the points, I think if you remove that team, I don't think it's so bold. I think it's a good prediction. With Ocon, with Alpine, I think it's definitely a bolder prediction, and I'm excited. I mean, I would like to see it. I know he's got the talent to do so. I think Guan Yu Zhou probably should have made it to the show faster than Tsunoda did, but he's here now. So we'll see how it goes. My prediction, or something that would be crazy. I don't remember what I said the other night when we were talking. I will say that I do think I think Tsunoda's got a good chance at it. I think Gasly's going to finish in the top 10 in the drivers' championship this year. I think Hamilton wins his 8th.
Yeah. Hamilton's going to win that. Merck's going to win the constructors, I think, next year.
Mercedes just seems to adapt. They seem to figure things out faster than everybody else. They seem to come up with that ingenuity that gets them a leg up. And I think that the first year, is going to take Red Bull a little bit more time to get their shit together. I hope that they realize early if the season is over early, I hope they realize it and they start working on the next year's car to develop it even further. But because I don't want this to happen again where Mercedes runs away with it because everybody's chasing them that year and they forget that they could just scrap this year and go to the next one. It's shitty to say scrap the year, but sometimes that's just what you got to do. But I do think Hamilton wins an 8th. I think you agree with me, but the part where you are different than you wrote that you believe Hamilton's going to retire after winning an 8th. And I don't think I don't see him retiring. I think I see him doing something along the lines of a Vettel, not leaving McLaren by any means. McLaren, not leaving Mercedes by any means, but I do see him using his platform to try to bolster his things and stuff that he's doing outside of racing. And I think it makes more sense for him to be in Formula One at the upper echelon of the sport to promote his other brands, his other things that he's doing. I think he probably puts in a little less work and maybe is a little bit more okay with not winning those championships after the 8th. I know he's passionate. I know he's going to try his hardest to do what he does, but I just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see him retiring.
I can only see that he may retire because he's got the platform. He's doing all these amazing things off track. But with the social media being the way it is nowadays, and we've always known him to take a little bit of a mental game, either against him or for him, that if he starts not winning, that people, unfortunately, on the internet are going to be, unfortunately, people on the internet, because that was a big problem. I hated that this year, seeing all that stuff. And I'm a huge Max fan, right. But the stuff that came out after Silverstone, I almost wanted to delete my own Twitter because I didn't want to see it. It was such a problem this year. I'm sorry?
What do you mean?
People were going after Hamilton, saying he was doing it on purpose, saying a lot of very racial things.
Yeah.
That he should be put up on charges, that he should be da-da-da-da.
They did it with Latifi.
Things that I can't say.
They did it with Latifi at the end of the year on social media. They shredded him. Yeah. I don't think it has a... Listen, in this scenario, I understand people were saying racial things, and race is at the top of the playing order at this point in all our lives, right? And I get it, and it's where it should be. That's fine. I don't care. You want to fight for it. I get it. I understand. When you get into certain things it's a way to get under somebody's skin, right? Even if somebody, is it wrong? Yes, 100%. I do not condone this. All right, I'm just letting you know from a competitive perspective. And is it a shitty competitive perspective? Yes, 100%. It shouldn't be used. But you're going to sit here and tell me that a fan who's not Joe Schmo, who doesn't even use his own name on his Twitter handle, is not going to throw out whatever's going to get under your skin. They do the same thing with Latifi. They're going to say whatever they can say to get under your skin. It's just going to happen, all right? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying it's going to be there. It's always going to be there. No matter how much we stamp out racism, it's easy for somebody to try to get under somebody else's skin by pulling the race card. You know what I'm saying? By pulling the sexual orientation or whatever they're going to try to say something. You don't think if a female was racing, you don't think somebody's going to try to say something about her being a female. It's the obvious go-to for an insult to dig under somebody's skin. I mean, you have chirps in hockey all the time. Brad Marchand the other night, a couple weeks ago, said something about Panarin being Russian. It's coming. It's just there. That's what they do. It's part of being competitive. Whether it's right or wrong is neither here nor there. It's not part of this conversation. The point I'm trying to make is it's there. It's always going to be there. That people are always going to use it. And I think when you are racing and you're at or a celebrity level or you're racing level or you're at that upper echelon of anything, whether it be sports, movies, politics, whatever, you develop that leather skin. It might affect you. You might break down and cry every once in a while. It's just going to happen. But honestly, you get that point where you're just like, people are just going to fucking say shit and I don't give a fuck. Right? Latifi knew it was coming. He stayed off of social media, he said, for a couple of days because he knew the heat was coming. He didn't even do anything fucking wrong. So it's people are just looking for a person to blame. I mean, it's just, you got to understand that it's going to come with it. Social media is a beast. You know that they're not going to do anything to cap it. You know they're not going to do the right thing to get rid of it. They're banning people left and right off Twitter, but Taliban still has a page. So you gotta understand that social media is social media. It's a beast in its own. People are always going to be assholes because they don't have to fess up to anything. They're using a name and an IP address from the other side of the world, and they don't have to be held accountable for what they say or their actions. I'm sure if I don't know, Lewis Hamilton seems like he really wouldn't hit nobody because he's kind of fragile. But I mean, you say the wrong thing to the wrong person back in the day, you got punched in the mouth for it. Nowadays, you can't do anything. So it's the world that we developed. You want everybody to hug and love each other, but it's just not the mankind way. Since the dawn of time, we've been killing each other for no reason.
I just really would wish that we would use our platforms to support our driver, not attack another driver.
I agree.
Like, I'll go on, doing that, it's the same thing I see with all like the political things. It's like, attack ads turn me off. Like, support your guy, tell me the good things about your guy, your driver, your politician, whatever it is.
Yep.
But I don't need to hear the negative things about somebody else.
I'm the same way with commercials
important
on television. I don't, Apple never, I always respected Apple because they never went after Samsung. Everyone always commented at Apple. Right, I always respect. There was a fast food chain that did it too. I can't remember, but everybody's always attacking somebody else in their ads. I never liked those, and it always turned me off. I liked the humbleness of it. I like the self-respect and the you know what I'm saying. Like the person who takes the bigger side, the person who decides to stand up and be a man and not stoop to the level of others. Maybe it's the way I was brought up. I don't know, but that's just the way it is, We talked about 2022. You have the worst crash of the year on your list. I agree with you. I don't think anybody can say anything different. That crash was ridiculous.
At Silverstone, yeah, that was crazy.
It's just the speed of that corner, the type of crash that it was. That's what made that crash where it was. I think that the Russell Bottas crash could have been a lot worse. I think, thank God, it wasn't that bad. Bottas coming over just a little bit to scare Russell onto the grass. I think Russell got scared. He moved over. He touched the grass. The grass was wet. That was it. It was all, that's all she wrote. Debris everywhere. The gravel trap definitely stopped Bottas, but I think the part that I was afraid of was them spinning in that tight area of that straight would have been pretty bad. But the speed of Silverstone was rough.
The funny thing was the radio call, because Raikkonen was behind the two of them after that crash came, and the guy's like, "Box spot, oh, there's problems. There's debris." He goes, "Yes, I know. It hit me in the face. I know there's debris. I was right behind it."
Yeah.
I think they need to turn his radio on and just leave it on.
Just leave it on.
Because him, throughout every race, has been hysterical. "There's something wet on my leg. You broke the bottle again. The bottle is not working. How can we make a car but not seem to get my water bottle to work right?"
He does say some funny ass shit. What's funny? Vettel's kind of funny when stuff goes wrong in the cockpit too, because he's always like, "My water bottle's leaking." And
something just touched my leg.
When he gets really upset, he's just off into German, right? Only when he's mad. Right? When he's happy, he speaks Italian. Grazie to guys, everybody, because he was on Ferrari. But
I mean, he congratulated Perez's win in Baku by saying "Feliz Navidad" or whatever it is. Like, isn't that Merry Christmas? But I mean, he's hysterical. Like Vettel, especially on the radio, like, "I'm going to touch Hamilton's wing." No, man, that's really expensive. I'll touch the front one. It'll be 25,000. Or in the last race, did we win the overtake award? Oh yeah, we did. What did I win? 1 million jelly beans. And I feel like Jelly Belly should send him 1 million jelly beans just for that.
Hey, you gotta think about it. They missed a merchandising opportunity there. 100%. Jelly Belly sends Vettel a whole shit ton of jelly beans for that comment. They're all over the front page news, bro. They're trending on Twitter. Speaking of funny moments, what was the funniest moments of 2021?
To me, it's the restart in Hungary where you just have Hamilton by himself. Everybody went in to dive in to change tires, and you just got a good old Hamilton by himself. And it's like, and you got Crofty's like, and it's lights off, and Hamilton's doing it himself.
Yeah, but then he like immediately realizes he's on the wrong tires. Russell jumps the entire fucking line, has to go back to the back. Like, I feel like Russell got in trouble at the lunch line in high school as a kid, like jumping in front of everybody else and being have to sit to the back. Like, I would say Toto yelling, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. That shit was hilarious. I don't care.
This is not right, Michael.
It was fucking funny. And you wrote Norris sleeping at Spa. I'll give you that. I mean, he's a
was
kid.
adorable.
What are you supposed to do? He's adorable. You just want to hold him and rock him like a little baby.
I mean, I think it was like Max was in his car and they had a radio message during Spa, and it's like, well, it still says a 100% chance of rain while it's still raining on his head. He goes, yeah, I know. I figured.
I got it. So that's our 2021 wrap up. That's a little bit of our 2022 expectations, predictions. We really can't wait to see what happens. We will be back for you with the 2022 season. Now that we have the streaming set up, the Discord going, it's going to be pretty fire. We've put a lot of stuff together to get, to solidify us being able to perform the show, hopefully every Sunday night right after the races. We'll probably do a show for Formula One pretty much all Sunday nights, right? So as soon as Sunday night hits, we're going to talk, hopefully, Formula One will do a show for you. We're going to try to do an IndyCar show for you, a NASCAR, maybe a little endurance, throw it all in there, maybe a hodgepodge episode, and then like a Formula One only episode, because that's just the way it always seems to be working. I do have some interviews lined up for January and February. Just got to go ahead and reach out to those folks and give them a solidified date. We got some F1 news for you. Santander comes and rejoins Ferrari. Mission Winnow is out, thank God. Philip Morris, I believe, is also out from Ferrari. At the time Brett wrote this, he said, what does this mean for Philip Morris and Ferrari? I did see online the other day that Philip Morris is gone. I'm not 100% on that, so don't kill me if they're not, but I'm almost 100%. Newman could probably do a quick fact check on that. Mohammed bin Sulaim, FIA president. He's an Emirati former rally driver, current president of the FIA. He's one of the Arab world's leading motorsport figures. He's been in motorsports for a very long time. I know nothing much more about the guy. I do know that he's just been around for a long time. He's always put in that work. So I'm excited to see what he does with the FIA. I'm excited to see what he does with Michael Massey. I'm excited to see how much he really gets into getting things done and moving those pieces around to bring all of the FIA to be that much more competitive. Did you find me an answer with Philip Morris and Ferrari?
I did not find an answer, unfortunately. I'm not great with fact checking. What can I say?
No worries.
But I mean, you also had Christian Horner got his extension now with Red Bull. He's going to be the team principal through 2026.
Right.
That was something that came out a little bit later. But other than that, like, I'm definitely glad that you had me on here all year.
Oh, of course.
Dealing with the crazy Newman.
No, I'm happy that when Brett had his things going on, and we hope that Brett comes back, and we've made room for him to come back. When he's ready to come back, he will. But I'm thankful to you that you filled the role, you took the step. I know you were a little nervous last year about doing it. The year before last, so 2020, I know you were nervous about coming on the show. 2021, you made a big step. You've made a hell of a contribution to the 2021 year. I was very happy to have you on. Your notes are impeccable. I wish we can use them a little bit more. And the fact that the fact that we're going to be doing Sunday night shows this whole year coming up, I'm very excited for your notes, because that's one thing Newman does very well. Is he takes impeccable notes. He's got an impeccable memory, just like Brett. So he helps that out for me.
And I'll try to be there as much as humanly possible. But with exams on Monday, I may not be on the show. But you can have my notes.
Yeah, you'll be on the show. Yeah, I say, hey, New, come on, you want to do the show for 45 minutes? You can be like, yeah. Honestly, dude, even if you came on for like the first like 20 minutes or 15 minutes, just get a couple things done, and then you leave, I could always cut to something later and do the rest of the show myself. So you're always more than welcome to just drop in, say a couple lines, and go on your way. I'm perfectly okay with that. So I want to thank everybody for jumping on. I see I changed around the website a little bit. I brightened it up a little bit. I tried to make it a little more interactive for you guys. The Discord is still going strong. I think we're almost at 100 people on the Discord, so that'd be really cool if we can keep growing that. We're going to push that in 2022. We want to see a lot of communication, especially when the race season starts. But I do have a couple of interviews lined up, like I said, and really excited to get that going. And I think that is everything. We'll see you guys later. Peace.